Picture this, it's 2004, you just got home from school, backpack hits the floor, and after suffering through math homework, you finally get to do what every kid wants to do. Turn on Cartoon Network and relax. So you turn the TV on, maybe you're expecting to watch an episode of Teen Titans, maybe even Totally Spies, but instead you get greeted by kids with foreheads the size of satellite dishes, and one of them has a purple triangle thing in his hair, while another one looks like he hasn't slept since the family computer was the main computer in the household. You see this bunch of weirdos and you think, you know what, maybe this isn't for me, I'll come back in 30 minutes for a new show, and just as you're about to change the channel, something unexpected happens. The show switches and it's insane. Neon colors, digital worlds, kids are flipping off walls, and an opening song that captivates you to this day. And before you even know what's happening, you're hooked. That's how Code Lyoko got us. But what if I told you it was almost never made? But before we get into all this interesting stuff, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Remy. Okay, that was dumb. Okay, my name is Remy. Welcome to my channel, and I just want to know, has anyone checked up on Code Lyoko? And if not, let's. Alright, let's start off with a banger. Code Lyoko was almost never made. And no, not because it was a bad idea, because some animation studios rarely take risks on something this weird. Say it with me now, animation is expensive and time consuming. But thankfully, a French studio called Moonscoop had a concept called Garage Kids. It had a similar premise, kids battling an AI in a digital world, but it looked way rougher. The mix of 2D and 3D was there, but apparently everything felt more student film than global phenomenon. However, the concept was too unique to ignore. Kids fighting against a rogue AI in cyberspace? That's some early 2000s sci-fi gold right there. So, after some polish, Moonscoop took a shot and published the concept, and Code Lyoko was born. But here's the fun part. Despite being a French series, it blew up globally. So how did a French show that almost got scrapped at the beginning get a cult following? To figure that out, I feel like we need to talk about one of the most striking features of the show, the wild animation style. So once again, picture this. You're watching a show, it's all 2D, flat, traditional animation style. But the second they enter Lyoko, bam, full 3D immersion. It was jarring, like really, really jarring. And risky, like really, really risky. But it also worked. All the other shows airing at the time were stuck to one animation style, but Code Lyoko needed the contrast. Lyoko wasn't just another place, it was an entirely different reality. The animation shift wasn't just a gimmick, it reinforced the actual story. But this choice also came with some hilarious drawbacks, like how the 3D models were stiff as bricks in season 1, which was kind of odd for the time because shows like Cubics and Jimmy Neutron have both been airing for a while when Code Lyoko initially came out. And both shows aired with smoother 3D animation. I'm guessing it was a budget thing for season 1, so I'm gonna just chalk it up to that. Thankfully, over time, the show refined its look and the 3D became a lot smoother. However, it wasn't just the visuals that made Code Lyoko stand out so much, it was the characters themselves. Okay, so honestly time, the team was weird, bunch of weirdos. I love them, but a bunch of weirdos nonetheless. A cast and crew full of unique characters, a smart kid to a goth girl to a cat boy. You know what I mean? Like, no context. That sounds a bit odd. No pun intended with the name. But each member of the team brought something unique to the table. Ulrich being the team's brooding swordsman, rocking scruffy brown hair and a wardrobe that evolves from green cargo pants to a military chic. He's the best fighter on Team Lyoko, originally sporting a single samurai katana, eventually leveling up to 2 katanas because obviously 2 is better than 1. And why is he so good with swords? Absolutely no reason. He's good at soccer, sports, and occasionally martial arts, but somehow that translates into sword skills. I won't question it if you don't. Despite coming from a well-off family, he rejects the high life and prefers to dorm with Odd and his misbehaving dog. Also, as a side note, it's called a dog, but that thing is so nasty looking. Like, please get rid of it. I hate it. Like, it looks like a cross between like a chihuahua and then like the ugliest purple thing you've ever seen. I don't know, man. I hate it. Get rid of it. Nevertheless, Ulrich is really popular. Girls in school have a crush with him, especially girls like Sissy. Unfortunately for Sissy, he's too caught up in his painfully slow burn relationship with Yumi to even honestly care about anything else. But when the team's in danger, he'll step up without hesitation. Fun fact, he also has vertigo, but that only matters when it needs to matter, because when it doesn't need to matter, it does not matter. Next we have Yumi, the not goth but looks like a goth girl. Yumi was born in Kyoto, but moved to France when she was young, and opposed those values to this day. While in Lyoko, she starts off by looking like a cyberpunk geisha and a kimono, but also with laser fans because weaponry. Then after a couple seasons, she finally gets an upgrade to a sleek bodysuit with sneakers. Personality-wise, she's calm, collected, and takes her time in trusting people. But once she does, she's fiercely loyal. But betray that trust and she won't hesitate to call you out, though she regrets it some of the times when she does. She's an athlete, a top student, and skilled in martial arts. While her parents think her hobbies are a bit strange, she doesn't care because her friends and classmates like her anyway. She's proud of her Japanese heritage. She's such a nice person, she even dabbles in charity and environmental projects. Well, you know, she's not battling a rogue AI trying to take over the world. She's just a solid friend to have in a pinch, I think. And finally, we get to the last of the main three. We have our boy Odd. Odd is a fun-loving blonde-haired goofball with a random purple streak in his hair, which he styles his hair to look like Vegeta on a good hair day. Funnily enough, Odd joined the Lyoko game purely by accident. His dog Kiwi wasn't supposed to be on campus, one thing led to another, and then boom, Odd ended up getting virtualized and going to Lyoko before everybody else. And honestly, he takes it like a champ, kind of just rolling with the punches in this regard. Personally, I'd freak out a little bit, but I was like, hey, it is what it is. He even started flirting with Aelita at some point. He was just chill about it. He was the team's fearless volunteer. Whether it's fighting Xena's monsters, getting body swapped, or even being cloned, this happened a couple times, he thrives in action, especially piloting the Navs kids in the Digital Sea. All things considered, Odd knew what he was about, and he kind of gotta respect that. He was who he was all the time, and it was unapologetic for it. Then we have the man in the chair himself, the one who set this whole show in motion, my guy Jeremy. Top of his class, wears big glasses, and was so smart he skipped a couple grades. Teachers love him, and other kids think he's kind of boring. Not to mention, he had 0 friends before the whole Code Lyoko supercomputer situation started. So, I mean, overall, this kind of worked out for him in a weird, really sadistic, twisted way. You know, whatever. Despite his nerd status, he's kind, fiercely loyal, and incredibly stubborn. He spends most of his time glued to the supercomputer, obsessively working to free Aelita and defeat Xana. You know, while low-key, high-key crushing on Aelita, the boy's not slick with it, but you know, it's fun. He's the rock of the team, always reassuring his friends, but also horrendously bad at reading emotions and the room sometimes. But through it all, deep down, he values his friends more than anything. Okay, last of the good guys, and the one with the most lore and backstory, with pink hair. That would be our main heroine, Aelita, the time-traveling pink-hair genius. Born in the US, daughter of France, Aelita had a childhood in the Swiss Alps until her mom was kidnapped by Men in Black. The urge to make a Men in Black joke is fighting me right now, but I'm not gonna do it because I respect y'all too much. Anyhow, after this traumatic event, her and her dad leave to France, where they change their names and secretly build a supercomputer in an abandoned factory, like you do when you're on the run. Where does the money come from? Stop thinking too hard. One day, while biking, Aelita comes home to find more Men in Black. No Will Smith jokes. Okay. More Men in Black, forcing her and her father to escape into the factory. And instead of, just running away, France decides that the best move is to digitize them into a virtual world. Solid parenting right there, my guy. Just dad of the year, right? Give him a medal. This event causes her to be stuck in Lyoko for a decade. So by the time the series actually starts, she's 22, and Jeremy is not that age. But don't think too hard about it, because then it gets kind of weird. But it's there in the back of your mind now that you realized it. But just don't look at the weird age thing right there. Just don't. They're kids, so but a little side eye, just like a smidge. But overall, Aelita's kind, smart, and a musical prodigy, by the way. And when we get to the end of the series, she's battle ready. And she's even rocking some laser wings. So full circle moment, she fights back, gets out Lyoko, gets her physical body back towards the end of the series. And it's all thanks to her friends being with her and giving her the push to overcome her horrible situation. A fun fact about her, she dies multiple times in this show. But she always gets revived because of plot MacGuffin, because they can't kill a kid. But she dies a lot in this show. And thankfully, they also have a supercomputer that can reverse time, which I feel like they don't play with enough. But yeah, that's just a tool they have in their arsenal. Okay, now for the bad guys and the sort of bad guys. Because most of the show is episodic, there's a lot of revolving characters that are evil, so we're gonna stick to the 2 major baddies. And by 2 major baddies, I do mean the ones that are just the most interesting. Okay, first we have William, the sort of bad guy, but not really a bad guy, but sort of bad guy. William was a chill dude, almost about everything, except for girls. My guy fell too fast and fell way too hard, and it just always blew up in his face. I feel like most people know a William adjacent kind of friend or person. Just everywhere there's a William. Wait, no, I don't think that, no, I don't like that. Anyway, William started off the series as an ally to the main group. It took him a while to eventually get into Lyoko, but when he did, he had a giant buster sword, and he could turn into smoke, so his power sets were pretty cool. Originally a backup for the group, Xena would see the potential of making him an ally, so she brain controlled him, and then physically traps him in Lyoko, to the point where it got kind of weird where he just disappeared in the actual 2D world, so they had to make a clone of him, and people like the clone of him more than the actual original, which is kind of sad, actually. And after a while, a series of adventures, they eventually get him freed from Xena, and once freed, William struggles to earn the team's trust again. But in his defense, he was brain controlled. What was he supposed to do? I don't understand that. If I was brain controlled and y'all knew I was brain controlled and I started doing videos on Teletubbies or something, yo, what do you want me to do about that, man? I wasn't in my right mind. Don't hold me accountable for that. Be understanding. I don't know. Granted, their situation's a bit more extreme than me making Teletubby videos, but you get the point. He does eventually earn their trust back by, he's just a good fighter. So they're like, dang, we can't really bench this dude. He's one of our better fighters. It's him or Odd, and we want him. And now finally we talk about the big bad of the show, Xena. Xena started as a basic computer program, but pulled a full sci-fi villain glow-up, becoming a self-aware virus hell-bent on world domination. It's seen humanity as a threat, operates with cold logic, zero understanding of friendship. I could go on and on, but we all know the AI evil song and dance. I'm looking at you, ChatGPT and Gemini. Watch yourself. Please, I don't want to fight an AI war. Please don't. While mostly personality-free, Xena occasionally drifts into some smug, sadistic AI stuff. It respects intelligence, hates stupidity, and to some extent views everything as dumber than her, even though she loses to middle schoolers every week. The reason she's so dangerous is because she's able to affect the real world from the cyberspace, spreading her virus like a plague. And once she stole the keys to Lyoko, it escaped into the internet, making itself nearly unkillable. But unlike the MCU Ultron, she wanted to smoke with humanity before she got on Twitter. You gotta respect the game a bit. She's a certified hater. Kendrick Lamar might be even proud of her. I'm just saying, certified, obviously something crazy. Anyway. A key component of the AI is this unique dynamic relationships with each one of the characters, good or bad. For example, you have Jeremy. Honestly, it's number one op. Xena tries to take him out first since he's the team's brain. Then you have Aelita, both a threat and an asset. Tries to capture her or use her for a scheme majority of the time. As for Yumi, she sees her as the toughest fighter and tends to target her the most. Might be sexist. I don't know if an AI can be sexist. Might be sexist, just saying. Follow that up by Odd, who is considered the wild card of the group, tends to not know how to handle him. Then we have Ulrich, who she seems to know that she has to swarm every time he's on the field, so he tends to get the most mobs going against him at any given moment. And as I already said about William, he gets hypnotized by the AI, causing him to lose himself because of it. And that whole weird possessive nature of Xena is shown at full case with William, because even when he breaks free of the hypnotism, brain control, whatever you want to call it, Xena still wants him back. And finally, we have Franz Hopper, or Waldo, the one person in the show Xena actually fears, constantly tries to prevent him from helping his daughter and her friends just save the world. And even with all these amazing characters and villains, there's only so far a good story can take you. You also need music that slaps. And that's where the intro to Code Lyoko comes in, baby. Let me tell you. The second intro starts, you hear the dun 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 dun. Like, come on, it's a rap. It's a rap. Game's over. Banger theme song right there. Hear them vocals saying, if we get all we got, we will make it. We're like, come on, man. Just so good. Such a good song. The opening was pure 2000s Euro pop energy. It never stopped being a banger, and I will play it to this day. I'm honestly playing it right now while I'm recording this. Like, every time I make one of these videos, I'm probably playing the theme song while writing and or recording these rips.
I kinda wish it was a joke, but I genuinely do just listen to these theme songs while I edit these videos. So, yeah, here, real time. Here's the timestamp for when I make the saying, and yeah. Okay, back to editing.
And definitely while editing these videos, every time I'm editing a video, I am playing the theme song just to get in the mood. And since I'm in the mood now, we can talk about the fun part. We can get into the show story. Let's break it down from beginning, middle, and the end. A group of middle schoolers, Jeremy, Ulrich, Yumi, Odd, and Aelita, all get entangled with a giant supercomputer hidden under an abandoned factory. What do? Well, naturally, they do the responsible thing and report it to the proper authorities. I'm kidding, we wouldn't have a show if they did that. With the group's involvement with the supercomputer, they accidentally release an AI program known as Xena, whose goal is to, ruin everybody's day. And how, pray tell, does an AI ruin everybody's day? By hacking reality, causing everything to go crazy, possessing everything from vending machines to killer teddy bears. Luckily enough though, this supercomputer also contains Lyoko, a digital cyber world where Xena operates, so the kids start doing what any other logical person would do. They start living a double life. Cyber superheroes by day, also students by day. A lot of stuff happens by day for these people, but they make it work. As for Aelita, Jeremy makes it his full-time job to get her out. This involves a lot of early 2000s dramatic typing and keyboard mashing, because you can super fast type Python if you're like 15 and just understand how that works. Oh, also, he can turn back time with the computer. Somehow he can figure that out too. Just coding reversal of time. Also, he makes nothing out of something, and we'll get back to that later. And the gang was doing what they had to do to get the job done. And for the most part, things were going well. Whenever they made a huge mistake, they could reverse time, and things were relatively okay. Until Xena decided to lock in and get an upgrade. By this point, the gang are seasoned monster fighters. Jeremy's getting closer to materializing Aelita in the real world, which if I'm gonna be honest, still kinda bugs me because a 12-year-old figured out how to break some laws of physics, but you know, whatever. Don't think too hard about it, Remy. It's not that important, but it bugs me a little bit. And while the crew kinda think they're in this good period, bam, plot twist, Xena decides to randomly get stronger. Like way stronger. She starts taking over people, technology, the actual internet, and worst of all, she starts taking over the teachers. And if you're a kid, that's pretty terrifying, honestly. And if that wasn't bad enough, to make matters worse, Alita's new freedom with her new physical body comes with a major catch. Turns out, Xena imprinted a virus under her, meaning if she dies, the entire supercomputer shuts down permanently. And that means there's no more Lyoko. And if there's no more Lyoko, Xena wins. She's free. They can't stop her. So the show goes from just stop the bad guy to protect Aelita at all costs, meaning Xena keeps escalating its chaos, from poltergeist to clone armies to a literal tsunami just to get to Aelita to put her out of her misery. But you know, the game resists. The battles start feeling less like fun adventures and more like unpaid overtime for the group, and just when they think they can kinda see a light at the end of the tunnel, Xena escapes to the real world. Now things are officially bad. With Xena running wild outside of Lyoko, the kids are out of time. They can't just shut down the supercomputer anymore. They have to destroy Xena for good, and it turns out the only way is to destroy Lyoko. And that means a lot for the group. That means no more swords, no more laser fights, no more odd, dumb jokes, but they're willing to sacrifice it all to save their friend and the world. And after an insane final battle, the gang actually pulls it off. Xena gets deleted, Lyoko's gone, and the world is safe. Jeremy and Aelita finally get to have a normal life. Yumi and Orin continue their weird, will they, won't they, on and off, hot and cold relationship they got going on. I need them to figure that out. And Odd is, well, he's still Odd. All in all, the story wraps up really well in the final season. And then the live action ignores all of that and has its own continuity. And we will get to that when we get to that. I promise you that. But before we get to that, we gotta talk about something just as important as the franchise itself. The merch, the video games, all the other fun accoutrement that came with it. Why did I say accoutrement? Who uses accoutrement in normal? Whatever, we're gonna keep pushing. When it came to video games, you feel like Code Lyoko would have something really unique and down pack and like a cool, nice, tight package. It didn't, and none of that. Their video games were like, not the best. Some were solid action RPGs, others felt like somebody poured a PowerPoint presentation to the Nintendo DS. It's just rough. Like, I want to see the person who greenlit these and ask them to please stop. Your creativity is hurting the franchise. It's hurting the franchise, dog. Stop it. And what also hurt the franchise was the live action, because they decided Code Lyoko, the 2D animated show, needed a live action. Some shows honestly just don't need live action. Dragon Ball Z, Pokemon, Fairly Odd Parents, in every one of their movies, and that one time they made a live action TV show. I don't know why they keep doing that. Butch Hartman, stop it. Please, make a new Danny Phantom or something. In that unique category of shows that don't need live action, Code Lyoko fits right in. The quote-unquote newest season of Code Lyoko is called Code Lyoko Evolution. And if you've never heard of it before, it's because we never got it over here in the States. The show aired in 2013, and Code Lyoko Evolution had a total of 26 episodes. And for some reason, they thought their drawing power would be the live action aspects, which, surprising to no one, it was not. And honestly, poorly received by everybody. To such an extent that the characters you've known for the last few seasons were literally not in this show. They had the same names and quote-unquote the same style and hairstyles or whatever, but those were not the characters you have been watching for the last couple years. They retconned certain things, added new lore points, and honestly, it got so bad where fans don't even consider this a real season. This is more like an Elseworld or an alternate timeline or something, because this is not canon to majority of people. And with that being the final installment of Code Lyoko, it left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. And honestly, that's why I think Code Lyoko should come back. If Total Drama Island can get a reboot, why not Code Lyoko? With better CGI, smoother animation, and a marketplace dying for fun nostalgia, this is the perfect time for a reboot. A new Code Lyoko would be huge if done right. But then, what would that even look like? Let me be a bit greedy here, and I wish for, you know, Spider-Verse levels animation. I know, that's a bit much. It's a bit much, I understand that. But come on, man. Imagine Code Lyoko with the budget, or not even full budget, half the budget of Spider-Verse and half the animation style of Spider-Verse. Code Lyoko will look crazy. Like, come on, man. You can tell me you're not feeling that idea? Joking aside, also wishing aside, Code Lyoko did something most cartoons can never pull off. It had a weird, experimental idea which made it a global phenomenon. And even after all these years, the fandom still remembers it. So could Code Lyoko make a comeback nowadays? Honestly, I always say yes to these things, and I think it should. I think Code Lyoko has enough quote-unquote unused lore and ideas to where it could revamp itself and repolish itself and repackage itself, a lot of reasons there, and come back in such a new fashion where it's honestly a breath of fresh air. And in the current animation landscape, France currently has some of the best 3D animations you've ever seen. Cough, cough, look at Arcane. So I'm just saying, like, you know, France, lock in, bro. Bring it back. Anyway, thank you for letting me check up on Code Lyoko. Like and subscribe and all the other fun stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Y'all take it easy. Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo, da-da-da-da-da-da. Bro, that theme song is crazy. Code Lyoko. Anyway, bye.